Hello, dear audience from everywhere and anywhere, from everywhere and anywhere you are. We are from Group 13, and we are going to talk about these 7 authors, which is really prominent in Middle Ages.
So before we dive deeper, let us introduce ourselves first.
My name is Muhammad Aqil Atha Farmaseta. My student number 123241125.
My name is Hanin Nafisa Sholihati. My student number is 123251089.
And my name is Kheyva Betari Putri, and my student number is 123251091. So, the first author that we're going to talk about is Thomas Aquinas. He is an influential thinker of both Catholic theology and Western philosophy. Additionally, aside from being a philosopher and a theologian, he was also a priest. And his contribution to the Catholic Church was so great and so important to the point that he was canonized as a saint in the year 1323, just 49 years after his death by Pope John the 22nd. And he is one of the 38 doctors of the Church, a title given by the Catholic Church to saints who have made significant contribution to the theology or doctrines through their research, writings, or study. And Thomas is one of them, and he is renowned by 3 titles, and the titles are Doctor Angelicus, Doctor Communis, and Doctor Humanitatis.
What's Doctor Humanitatis about?
So Doctor Humanitatis translates to Doctor Humanity, Doctor of Humanity, which highlights his openness to receive the values of all cultures and discover the truth about the good of a man. So, one of his famous work is the Summa Theologica, which was written from 1265 to 1274. And if you're asking what Summa Theologica is,
Yeah, what's Summa Theologica is? I've heard of it, but I don't exactly know what it is.
yeah, I think we may have heard it a few times throughout our life. So, Summa Theologica is a comprehensive guide to the theology or doctrines of Catholic Church, and it consists of thousands of pages, and by thousands I mean it can reach 3,000 pages. And though it has quite a number of pages, it's actually unfinished due to Aquinas' untimely death. And so one of his secretaries, his name is Reginald of Piperno, took over to quote-unquote finish it by compiling Aquinas' earlier work, that is his documentary on Peter Lambert's sentences, which he turns into the supplement that acts as the final volume of the Summa Theologica. And Summa Theologica itself actually reflects Aquinas' thinking that was heavily influenced by Aristotelian philosophy, and by dividing his Summa Theologica into 3 parts, he managed to address the fundamental questions of theology, ethics, and also the nature of God in each part. And furthermore, in his 5 ways, there are 5 logical arguments to prove the existence of God, which means that he bridged the gap between faith and reason. And this reconciliation or an integration between Catholic theology and Western and Aristotelian philosophy later caused a scholastic movement in the 19th century called Neo-Scholasticism. It is a revival and development of medieval scholasticism, which is of course in Catholic theology and philosophy. And the Pope at the time, the Pope Leo XIII, directed the clergy to take Thomas' teachings as the basis of their theological positions, and also decreed to all Catholic seminarists and universities to teach Thomas' doctrines. So even after centuries, after his period of time where he was alive, he still has this influence that remains unchanged, and his works still serve as the pillar of Catholic theology, education, and philosophy, even up till now. So next,
So the second author I want to talk about is Geoffrey Chaucer. Geoffrey Chaucer, born in 1343 and died in 1400, was an English poet, writer, and civil servant, best known for the Canterbury Tales. He's been called the father of English poetry or the father of English literature.
so is he the celebrity of the English literature or something?
I wouldn't say that he was a celebrity, but more of a
Founder?
yeah.
So he's the founder.
Yeah. So the Canterbury Tales, or in Middle English, Tales of Canterbury, is an anthology. Is an anthology of 24 short stories.
So it's a collection, right?
Yes.
Collection of short story from
Short stories written in Middle English by Geoffrey Chaucer between 1387 and 1400. They are mostly in verse and are presented as part of a fictional storytelling contest held by a group of pilgrims traveling from London to Canterbury in order to visit the shrine of Saint Thomas Becket at Canterbury Cathedral. So the tales had a major effect upon the development of English literature. They may have been responsible for the popularization of English vernacular in mainstream English literature.
May I ask what vernacular is?
never heard of it.
So, as far as I know, basically vernacular is the non-standard language.
Okay, got it.
Now it's my turn. Yeah. I'm going to talk about Dante Alighieri, which is like a 14th century author who's born in Florence in 1265.
Where is Florence located?
It is in Italy because he's an Italy author. So yeah, he's always, what is it get is because he's born in this like political era, and because of that his thinking is also gets influenced by that. So one of his it reflects his works. One of his famous works, which I'm going to talk about today, is the Decameron, which the Divine Comedy. The Decameron is for the Divine Comedy, which tells us the story of Dante as the main character. He is literally the main character of the story. Explore the three realms, which is the first one is the hell or inferno, and the second is purgatory, which souls are being purified, and the last one is heaven or paradise. In this story, he is being guided by Virgil, an idol of him, which is also a literary literary poets in the past. He guides him through the hell and also the purgatory. In heaven, he is met by probably the love of his life. I'm not too sure. Her name is Beatrice, and he guides him through through the paradise, which makes him like which makes him what was it again? Which shows him how is paradise is, the inside is the like of it.
So
of
you
it.
talked about how he's guided by Virgil.
Yeah, it's quite
So he just left him in hell or in the purgatory place, or
no, it's actually his guide in purgatory and hell. So he's like explaining all of the level in hell while being like his protector. So because in hell there are so many like the view in there is so it's so bad.
so they separated ways after
They separate ways. And he is he is accompanied by Beatrice afterwards. His story can Virgil is actually in a limbo right now. He's like in the bottomest. No, it's actually on top because it's not really hell. Limbo is like when your soul are stuck in this one place with and you can't do anything but see the light of heaven because it's actually before you. There are many.
So in between heaven and hell.
Yeah, it's in between heaven and hell. Limbo is actually before. It's actually the place before your soul gets judged. Gets judged by this one creature, which is like half beast, half human, called Minos. Yeah, Minos.
So the souls in there doesn't get like purified in the purgatory, or
Yeah, it's later. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but I think they actually get purified later. Yeah. And his works also serves as the literary canon of Italian because of his what is it? Because of his amazing words at explaining philosophical, and also religion. He combines them both well, and also he at the time serious literature like the renowned literature at the time uses Latin language, which is like the most renowned language, and everyone uses that. Every higher ups up there uses it, but he wrote his book in Tuscan dialect, which is like the old base for Italian language. So that's how he becomes the base of modern Italian language.
so is it right for me to assume that he is the founder of the Italian language that we know of today?
Yes, he is titled the father of Italian language actually, because of that book.
So the fourth author is William Langland. He is a 14th century poet that is generally accepted as the author of a Middle English allegorical narrative poetry titled Piers Plowman. And not much is known about him because he is very mysterious, and so the information available today and what that we know of is actually just mere inferences of his manuscripts. And there are actually three texts of the same title, Piers Plowman, that is referred to text A, B, and C, which suggests that he had this obsession with revising Piers Plowman over and over again. Maybe it was his attempt to pursue perfection. Yeah.
He's a perfectionist.
Yeah, he's quite a perfectionist, I'd say. There is even some mention about text C or Z, which might be the fourth edition of the Piers Plowman. Yeah. And the story itself has so many characters based on allegorical personification. So there are people named like truth, false, wrong, reason, conscience, and so many more. And they each embody what their name stands for. And this story follows Will, the narrator, who goes back and forth from reality to between reality and the dreamscapes, and he witnesses various conflicts which are related to religious and social issues. And are you all aware of the medieval hierarchy that in which the clergy or the people who pray sits at the top and then followed by the nobility, and at the absolute bottom is the peasants?
Oh yeah.
I've learned it in the
Yeah.
class.
So, Piers Plowman, the characters who actually only appears later into the story, is actually a representation of a peasant, and it's ironic because peasants do nothing but honest labor, and they even provide the higher ups with the necessities so they're able to live life comfortably, to live life to the fullest, and they even serve as the foundation of the hierarchy system itself, because without it, it will surely crumble. But however, they're almost always mistreated by the same higher ups that they serve, and those are the corrupt clergies and nobles, which is unfortunate. And this is one of the issues that he addressed and called out through his writings. And I'd say that his writings is complex and interesting because his world building inside of his narrative poems is so intriguing, so complex, and it's probably why it still continues to be studied for its literary and historical significance. And I also think that the moral message transcends time and space, and because it's still relevant to what the world and the societies face today.
So it tells us about inequality and injustice.
Yes, the theme is
Society.
The theme is actually revolves around poverty, corruption, and things like that. So yeah, they address inequalities and stuff.
Oh, the fifth author we want to talk about is Christine de Pizan. Christine de Pizan, or Pizan, born as Cristina de Pizanu, born in 1364 and died in 1430, was an Italian-born French court writer for King Charles VI of France and several French royal dukes in both prose and poetry.
So the author that you mentioned is a woman because her name is Christina.
Yes, she is.
Oh, it's a she.
She is a woman. Considered to be some of the earliest feminist writing, her best known work is the Book of the City of Ladies. The Book of the City of Ladies, or Le Livre de la Cité des Dames, is a book written by Christine de Pizan, believed to have been finished by 1405. The book served as her formal response to Jean de Mont's popular Roman de la Rose. Pizan combats men's statement about women by creating an allegorical city of ladies. She defends women by collecting a wide array of famous women throughout history. These women are housed in the city of ladies, which is actually the book.
So these women are historical figure too.
Yes.
Oh,
You can say that.
he's like Dante Alighieri then.
Yes.
mentions many.
She actually inspired by.
Oh, so that's why. Oh my god. Maybe the works are kind of different though because Dante is more vivid and more-
Punishment and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, something like that.
As Pizan builds her city, she uses its famous woman as a building block for not only the walls and houses of the city, but also as building blocks for her thesis. Each woman introduced to the city adds to Pizan argument towards women as valued participants in society. She also advocates in favor of education for women.
So she's a feminist.
Is she the first feminist or just the first few feminists?
Not exactly the first one, the literal first one, but one of the earliest feminist writer.
Oh, got it.
Now I'm going to talk about another prominent Italian writer that was born after Dante. His name is Giovanni Boccaccio. Yeah, Giovanni Boccaccio. He was born in 1313 in Italian. I forgot where he was born. I think it was in Tucan or something. Yeah. He is ever since he was a child, he's always been a literary fan. He always has a talent in literary. He studies. I think he studies law at apa sih? He used to study law. Yeah, he's used to study law, but then because he is more more passionate in literature, he abandoned and goes to literary. And I'm going to talk about his most famous work, which is the Decameron. The Decameron is a 14th Renaissance literature, which is really popular at the time. And his work is his book tells us about 7 people. 7 people consist of 7 women. 10 people 10 people consist of 7 women and 3 men. 10 people. So for 7 days these 10 people tells each of them tells short stories with different themes each day. So they compiled that short stories, and that makes like 100 short stories. The Decameron is a compiled 100 short stories.
So did
tells
they
us different
tell the
themes.
stories like one by one each day, or just one person?
No,
each day?
each of them tells a story. Each person.
So there are 10 stories each day.
Yeah, there's stories each day. It
I
tells
thought-
like
I thought
that's why it was 100.
I thought there was like 100 days. They were stuck there for 100 days.
I almost think like that too at first, but then I remember, oh yeah, it was 10 days. But they each tell stories. That's why it was 100 short stories. The theme is like differentiate between. I think the first day they are telling about separation, separation and love, and then the second days, I think they're talking about unexpected moments, something like that. Yeah, it differs each days, and which is again Giovanni Boccaccio's works serves as a main influence on how humanism literature is now, because at the time literature at the time is more focused on like dramatical or like serious but his works combines humor, realism, and like just everyday story. So yeah. Oh yeah, and at the time he was born, there was like a black plague. So the 10 people that I just the 10 people earlier is actually trying to hide from the black plague. They hide in like a villa or something like that, and that's how they each tells different story. Yeah. Yeah, that's all. That's all.
So, how was the people? Did they succeed in?
Today,
Did they succeed in
evading
yeah,
the Black
evading the
Death?
plague?
Yeah. So after 10 days, what happened? Is it mentioned or just...
I think they're more focused on the short stories, so I think I don't really, yeah.
So it's up for our interpretation what happened to them afterwards.
I think so. I don't really read about the ending. The thing that I don't really read about the ending.
And the seventh and last author that we're going to talk about today is Marie de France. So as you can tell from the name, she is presumed to have been born in France and lived in England. She is a 12th century poet, and she wrote in Old French and was proficient in both Latin and Middle English. And her work is... she's popularly known as the author of Lays of Marie de France. So, Lays of Marie de France generally focuses on glorifying the concept of courtly love. It is love that is more emphasized on the nobility and chivalry stuff, and her writings are unique. It features knights that are devoted to a lady in courtly settings, and it often involves the forbidden or secret love trope, and there's also this mystical element or the marvelous, where the characters may transform themselves into animals, or
It's also fantasy, right?
yeah, it's very fantasy.
Romance, fantasy.
Yeah.
Romantasy, maybe?
Yeah, romance. Oh yeah, I just know that. And sometimes the character may also travel to other worlds, so maybe alternate worlds, just to search for their love, purely for their love.
Your love is so strong.
Yeah. So devoted, and she actually blended the Celtic folklore, which is proven by the presence of magic potion, fairies, and werewolves, and so many more. Yeah, and it blended with the French courtly tradition, which we can see in the application of sophisticated social etiquettes and values from the French nobility. Moving on to you.
Oh yeah, so the impact of her works, sorry, the impact of her works is that she writes courtly love. Yeah, the genre is courtly love, right? The courtly love in a more meaningful way, because at the time it was more about
Appealing.
yeah. She writes it in a more, yes, as you said before, she emphasized it, right? She writes it in a more emotionally intense story. Like her works in romance is much more complicated. Like she talks about forbidden love and then secret love, some tropes like that. And also she helps bridge the language between French and England, because as Kheyva said before, she uses Old French, which is called Anglo-Norman at the time. which is the base of the Chiru language.
I would like to also add some things about her. So much to our dismay, she is very similar to William Langland, in which not very much is known about her either. And the information that we have about her today are just derivation from manuscripts that contains her work. And the lays are structured in a very interesting way, in which the old lays are
Oh yeah, she also wrote her works in like poems, right?
Yeah.
Poetry. She doesn't write it in a usual or narrative way of storytelling.
Yeah.
It was also
She uses poems for all of her works, and this lace of Marie de France is special because the old lace praises the character for expressing their love towards other people, while the even lace warn about how love, which is limited to oneself, can bring misfortune. Yeah. Is there anything else that any of you would like to add?
yeah, I think she is the father of modern. Wait,
She's the mother. She's the mother
Why do I say
of the romance. Yeah.
misgendering someone? Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. So I think that's the end of our discussion. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh.
It has been a few minutes after 30 minutes. Yeah. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to our
and
podcast.
thank you for paying attention to
I'm
us.
sorry if it was maybe some of them are kind of incorrect because I don't really remember some of them.
Yeah, please don't judge us. And thank you for your attention and thank you for listening. Bye bye.